So there's this absolutely mind-boggling story that went viral the other day that I had to share with you guys. This is from the BBC here. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett found dead in the U.S. So I'm going to walk you through the specifics here, but just know that Boeing has been in a lot of hot water lately. Why? Because they had the Boeing 737, which was approved, and it basically fell out of the sky. There was a problem with the sensors, and so they had to take it off the market and then fix the problem, and they said they did that, and then they brought it back out. But then you got all these other... The other day, there was a door that blew off mid-flight for one of these flights. And to be fair, look, it's not just Boeing. It really looks like there's been massive deregulation of the airline industry for decades and decades, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. And there's been a number of problems with a lot of flights. The other day, you had a wheel fall off an airplane right after takeoff, and it landed in, I don't know if it hit cars or people or something, but this now it seems to be like a weekly occurrence where there's some problem with an airplane. And this is historically viewed as like the safest form of travel. And now, because of the deregulation, it's a race to the bottom. So let me give you the specifics of this one, because boy, oh boy, does it raise some eyebrows. Does it lead to some speculative theories that some may have looking at the facts? So Boeing whistleblower John Barnett found dead in U.S. A former Boeing employee known for raising concerns about the firm's production standards has been found dead. John Barnett worked for Boeing for more than 30 years before retiring in 2017. In the days before his death, he had been giving evidence in a whistleblower lawsuit against the company. Boeing said it was saddened to hear of Mr. Barnett's passing. I'm sure. The Charleston County coroner confirmed his death to the BBC on Monday. It said the 62-year-old had died from a self-inflicted wound on March 9th, and police officers were investigating. Mr. Barnett had worked for the U.S. plane giant for more than 30 years until his retirement in 2017 on health grounds. From 2010, he worked as a quality manager at the North Charleston plant, making the 787 Dreamliner, a state-of-the-art airliner used mainly on long-haul routes. In 2019, Mr. Barnett told the BBC that under pressure, workers had been deliberately fitting substandard parts to aircraft on the production line. Hold up. What did I just read? In 2019, under pressure, workers had been deliberately fitting substandard parts to aircraft on the production line. I'm going to go ahead and file that under the inexcusable category. What? He also said he had uncovered serious problems with oxygen systems, which could mean 1 in 4 breathing masks would not work in an emergency. He said soon after starting work in South Carolina, he had become concerned that the push to get new aircraft built meant the assembly process was rushed and safety was compromised, something the company denied. He later told the BBC that workers had failed to follow procedures intended to track components through the factory, allowing defective components to go missing. He said in some cases, substandard parts had even been removed from scrap bins and fitted to planes that were being built to prevent delays on the production line. Excuse you? So, going through literal garbage to find parts to put on planes? He also claimed that tests on emergency oxygen systems due to be fitted to the 787 showed a failure rate of 25%, meaning that 1 in 4 could fail to deploy in a real-life emergency. Mr. Barnett said he had alerted managers to his concerns, but no action had been taken. Boeing denied his assertions. However, a 2017 review by the U.S. regulator, the Federal Aviation Administration, did uphold some of Mr. Barnett's concerns. It established that the location of at least 53 non-conforming parts in the factory was unknown and that they were considered lost. Boeing was ordered to take remedial action. On the oxygen cylinders issue, the company said that in 2017 it had identified some oxygen bottles received from the supplier that were not deploying properly, but it denied that any of them were actually fitted on aircraft. After retiring, he embarked on a long-running legal action against the company. He accused it of denigrating his character and hampering his career because of the issues he pointed out, charges rejected by Boeing. At the time of his death, Mr. Barnett had been in Charleston for legal interviews linked to that case. Last week, he gave a formal deposition in which he was questioned by Boeing's lawyers before being cross-examined by his own counsel. He had been due to undergo further questioning on Saturday. When he did not appear, inquiries were made at his hotel. He was subsequently found dead in his truck in the hotel car park. Speaking to the BBC, his lawyer described his death as tragic. So he wasn't done testifying, and he died before he could finish. Well, what the hell else was he going to say? In a statement, Boeing said, "We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends. His death comes at a time when production standards at both Boeing and its key supplier, Spirit AeroSystems, are under intense scrutiny. This follows an incident in early January when an unused emergency exit door blew off a brand new Boeing 737 MAX shortly after takeoff from Portland International Airport. A preliminary report from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board suggested that 4 key bolts designed to hold the door securely in place were not fitted. Last week, the FAA said a 6-week audit of the company had found multiple instances where the company allegedly failed to comply with manufacturing quality control requirements." Okay, look, the one obvious takeaway from this story is very simple. All of the presidents, and there were many of them, who took part in the deregulation of the airline industry, there are not enough words to describe how stupid and corrupt these leaders are and were. Because this is not an issue that's debatable. It's not like, hey, should we get rid of all the online safety standards or should we not? Let's hear both sides of the... No. This is like one side is just right and one side is just wrong. And nobody ideologically is going to take on this battle because it's not about ideology. In this instance, it's about the influence of money in politics. It's about the influence of the airline industry over our elected officials. And to deregulate the airline industry, well, like I said, now this is the chicken coming home to roost. Everything that we're seeing here. And this should obviously spur an immediate reaction to re-regulate the industry and have very high safety standards. But to speak of this case in particular, man, is this sketchy, isn't it? Man, is it sketchy. This guy happens to kill himself right before completing his testimony against Boeing when he's spilling all of this damaging information to the company. Man, what a stroke of luck for the big wigs over at Boeing, huh? What a stroke of luck for them. So look, I can't say definitively one way or the other what happened, but what I can do is give you guys all the facts. I've given you all the facts, and you go ahead and use your own logic. You go ahead and use your own reason to figure out what the hell you think is going on here. But to say it's not sketchy is about as silly as saying the Jeffrey Epstein death is not sketchy, right? I mean, I think we could say more conclusively in the Epstein instance, there was some foul play involved. In this scenario, you're getting close to that. You're not fully there, but you're getting close to that level of certainty. But certainly raises my eyebrows, man. Certainly makes me look twice. We all know who really runs this country, right? Let's be clear. We all know who really runs this country. It's not like the Republicans think, a satanic cabal that's running the country. It's the mega corporations and the billionaires. They run the country. And when you see what's happened to the airline industry, it's a perfect example of what happens when you say, hey, industry, regulate yourself. Well, this is what that looks like. This is the logical conclusion. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.